Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank all of you for joining the live stream. And we just reached 1000 subscribers over our YouTube channel. So once again, thanks to all of you. And please stick with me towards the end of the live stream because I'm going to announce one monthly premium subscription as well. Just for this live stream, I thought maybe I should just give away one monthly premium subscription. So yeah, I would randomly be choosing any member have joined the live stream. So yeah, please make sure to just watch the live stream till the end. And first of all, once again, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you have not already done that, so please make sure to head to my YouTube channel and subscribe to it, and make sure to like some of the YouTube videos that we have uploaded. All right, and this live stream also, it will be uploaded over my YouTube channel. So if you are not able to watch it, then you can just go over to the YouTube channel and watch it later on. Okay, so the US market just opened almost like 40 minutes ago. We had this amazing reaction on Bitcoin, almost like $200, $300 move up. After the US Open, nothing crazy has happened so far. The only move that we saw happen was from 91,300. Now, for those of you who are premium members, right, they would know this thing that I regularly share updates in my market updates channel, right? I don't really share those updates anywhere else. I don't really share those updates over my Twitter account because, obviously you cannot just share updates everywhere. Those are some real-time updates. And we discussed the importance of 91,300 level. I did mention this thing last night also when this whole, when market was going downside. I did mention this thing that, unlike other people who were just talking about 86,000, 85,000, I'm not ruling out the possibility of 86,000, 85,000. But remember this thing that anybody telling you that, okay, we are headed towards 86,000 or we are headed towards 85,000, you need to, it's not like the current price, it's at 94,000 and we can just head straight down to 90, we can head just straight down to 85,000, 86,000. Obviously, you cannot just rule out all of these possibilities. But the fact is that we still have, supports present around 91,300. We still have a support present around, 89,500, 88,200, which means that it's not going to be an easy, path down to 86,000, 85,000. There is still a possibility. It's crypto. You cannot just rule out any of these possibilities, which means that 86,000, 85,000, it's quite possible. But first of all, let's just start the discussion about, what exactly so special about 86,000, 85,000. First of all, if we would look at the trend, we are clearly moving in an uptrend, and price continuously just keeps on making these higher highs and higher lows. And this is quite an interesting fact that ever since we started moving from 67,000, back on 5th of November, right, on the day of the elections, ever since we started moving from 67,000, there has not been a single instance at which this external structure, it was violated, right? Which means that on the 4-hour time frame chart, which is basically a higher time frame, we are continuously making these higher highs and higher lows, and there has not been a single instance at which the structure was noisy or the structure was not clear, right? And something that you need to pay attention to, something that we did discuss during the last live stream as well, that whenever the trend is strong, the retracement would only happen down to 38.2, and whenever the trend is getting weaker or there is some kind of huge supply zone ahead when price is moving in an uptrend, or there is a huge demand zone when price is moving in a downtrend, you would notice that the retracements, they would happen down to maybe 60.5, maybe 70.5, 61.8, 65% fib levels, meaning that anything that's below 50% level. So whenever the retracements are happening below 50% level, this is usually an indication that, okay, market is taking some deeper retracement, which means that the trend, it is getting weaker. Now, with all due respect to all of you, I'm not going to get into the details of what's so special about 91,300 because it could simply just be a little bit complicated thing, but it's a very strong level, right? It's a very strong level, 91,300. And we just saw when price was trading somewhere around 93,000, 92,000, I did talk about 91,300. That's a very strong level, and if we lose this level, only then we could go down to maybe 88,000 89,500, maybe 89,500. And what exactly so special about 89,500 or 89,300? What's so special about that? Let's just draw the trend. First of all, you have impulsive wave, you have corrective wave, you have impulsive wave, you have corrective wave, and then you have an impulsive wave like this, which means that all you have to do is, once again, it's a clear trend, it's a strong trend. And I've been saying this ever since we started having these live streams, ever since we started the YouTube channel. Whenever I'm teaching all of these things, most of them, most of the talk, it's almost done every single week, right? Because the confluences or the rules that I'm using, they're never really changing, which means that it's always the same kind of rules, right? So all you have to do is, usually when the trend is very clear, usually when there is no noise on the charts, and that's where a Fib retracement levels would come into play. Because if the trend is strong, or even if the trend is not strong but the trend is clear, all you have to do is just take out your Fib tool and draw Fib retracement and expect the price to go down to at least 65-70.5% Fib level, and always place your stop loss below 99% levels. In this case, you can see that in the previous case, the bounce happened somewhere around 70.5-65% Fib level. So in this situation also, you don't have to draw Fibs from this low or from this low or from this low. It would always be drawn from this low, because this is a major swing low. Now I would have to change the position of major swing low slightly. This is your major swing low and this is a major swing high. The reason I have not still marked the major swing high, or the reason why I was a little bit reluctant to mark the major swing high, was mainly because the price is still staying very close to the last high that we formed, which means that there is every possibility that in the next few hours a new high could be formed. And please stay tuned, because we have to talk about so many important things in terms of altcoins and everything. It's very much just a Bitcoin show. Bitcoin has gone up from 91,000, 90,000 all the way up to 94,000. It's almost touching 95,000, and altcoins, they're literally just bleeding, and it would continue to happen in the very same manner, probably for the next 2-3 weeks, probably for the next like 1 month or so. The reason for this is because the TOTAL2 chart, Bitcoin dominance, many things are into play. So once again, please make sure that you're watching the live stream till the end. So you don't have to draw Fib retracement from this swing low or from this swing low or from this swing low. It would always be drawn from this swing low. Once again, I'm not going to get into the details of how you would draw the structure, but this is your major swing low, which means that you would draw Fib retracement from, once again, many of you may argue that, why exactly are we doing this? There is a possibility that we can go down to 85,000, 84,000. Remember this thing, whenever price is trading in an uncharted territory, whenever price is trading around all-time highs or all-time lows, a speculation that's being made by any experienced trader is going to be as good as yours, right? Which means that it's very much an uncharted territory. So they are going to make some assumptions, they're going to make some speculations, and if you are doing so, if you are maybe using some other confluences, or if you are just a beginner, you don't have any idea about charting and all those things, the guess is going to be as good as yours, because it's an uncharted territory. There is no demand, supply, or the rest of the things. And we did discuss that which methods can you possibly use. If you don't know about that, just go and watch the last live stream that we did last Wednesday or Tuesday. I did discuss in detail which methods or tools you can actually use in order to basically chart in the regions where there is no historical data available. But the point here is that if you would draw, people might say that we are going down to 85,000, 84,000, but the only best possible tool that you have in this situation, since the trend is strong and a trend is basically an uptrend, the trend is bullish, as long as we don't close a 4-hour candle below this major swing low, which means that many people are always talking about speculations and all those things. I have most of the time suffered the same thing, where you would simply just be waiting for the dump, and the dump wouldn't really happen. This is especially true in the cases where there is a strong uptrend going on, or when we are in the bull market or when we are in the bear market. People would simply just keep on waiting for a huge dump, and that may never really happen, right? So in this situation also, just forget about the dump and all those things. If it happens, it happens. You should simply always have your stop loss place. You should simply just have your invalidation point. In any case, we will be talking about the possibility of a huge pullback down to 85,000, because it's going to look real ugly, right? Even if Bitcoin goes up to 100,000, 99,000, 98,000, and then goes back down to 94,000, it's going to look real ugly for all these altcoins. We would explore the reasons why. So you have to just draw Fib retracement, and because the major swing high has still not been formed, so once again, by the time this live stream gets uploaded, or by the time we end this live stream, it's very much possible that, a new swing high would have formed. So, if you're watching this later on, and, probably a VIX is down, if VIX is upside at 96,000, 97,000, it's going to be the very same thing. You have to take out your fib tool, draw from this point at 86,756 up to whatever the swing high is, and then you would expect the price to go down to at least 65%, 8% fib level. And this is so special. This is actually what's special about 89,000 or 90,000 levels, which means that, fib retracement levels, they are going to provide us a very good clue in this whole situation. Since we have found a fractal somewhere around here, since we have seen the fractal form somewhere around here, and this is the most recent fractal, by the way, this is not the best fractal, this is not the best possible fractal that you can consider, because, first of all, this is the most recent one. There is only going to be one instance at which it would have played out, and this is that one instance, right? And secondly, you don't have, once again, too much of historical data to back up that this fractal is going to work ahead in future as well. But in any case, if we consider this fractal, draw fib retracement from swing low to swing high, we noticed that, okay, price did react somewhere around 70.5, 78.6, although the retracement was a little bit too deep, which is not something that I usually prefer. I would, whenever you are considering the fractals, or whenever I'm specifically considering the fractals, I would usually prefer the instances at which price would only retrace down to 65 or 70.5 fib retracement levels. But in any case, this is our only choice, right? So if you would reverse these levels, you would notice that the next big retracement could happen somewhere around 95,463, and if we go past this level, then most probably the retracement is going to happen somewhere around 98,000, 99,000. So please be very careful about these levels, because I'm warning you over and over again that Bitcoin moved from 90,000 all the way up to 95,000, and there was hardly anything happening with the altcoins, because it's very much a Bitcoin show, Bitcoin dominance. It's literally just ripping apart at 61%. So Bitcoin dominance, it's at 61%, and which means that it's once again very much a Bitcoin show, right? You can see this on the Bitcoin dominance chart as well, that and by the way, I did talk about there was a possibility that we could see a rejection somewhere around here, but I did warn you guys, once again, the market updates channel. I don't know how many of you are paying attention to the market updates channel, but I make sure to regularly share every single update related to the market. For example, we just got the news before the US session. We got the news about Saylor buying once again. He increased the buying from like $1.7 billion to, I guess, $2.5 billion. And this pump is very much because of this news, because as long as we have Saylor buying, as long as we have MicroStrategy and BlackRock continuously bidding, because just yesterday as well, the inflow into the spot ETF was close to $900-800 million, right? Which means that the inflow has been absolutely crazy for the past like 1 to 2 weeks. And on the other hand, you talk about Ethereum, and for the last 3 to 4 days, the flow has been we have consecutively seen the outflow, somewhere around -200, -300 million dollars, which basically shows you, how crazy the price action for Ethereum is behaving. And there is a reason why we have placed the limits around $2,800 in Ethereum, because I still believe that, you talk about ETH BTC. For those of you who don't know what exactly ETH BTC is, it's basically a chart that shows you the strength of Ethereum in comparison to Bitcoin. So if the price on the ETH BTC chart is going down, then this would mean that Ethereum is literally just performing shit in comparison to Bitcoin. And just to let you know, I can show you the chart as well. ETH BTC chart, it's trading around its all-time lows. It's trading around its multi-year lows, which means that Ethereum is definitely not performing good in comparison to Bitcoin. I don't even need to mention this thing. I don't even need to point out this thing, because we already know that Bitcoin, it's almost like 20%, 30% from its previous all-time highs, and Ethereum is literally just 20%, 30% down from its previous cycle's all-time high. So it basically shows you how shit the price action is at this moment on the Ethereum chart, but I'm not worried about it. I know that most of the people who are complaining about Ethereum not performing good, they have not been present during the previous cycles. They don't know how these cycles actually work. We are still in the phase one of this cycle, where the attention, or where the center of attraction is going to be simply just Bitcoin. Then there is going to be phase two, then the capital would start rotating from Bitcoin into Ethereum. And then there is going to be phase three, when the capital is going to start rotating from Ethereum into the into the mid cap coins or into the low cap coins. So it's just going to be, it's simply just a phase one for this cycle. We are still in the very early phase of the cycle, which means that anything that's happening has already happened before. So there is nothing new with whatever is happening in terms of Ethereum. Ethereum in every single cycle always outperforms Bitcoin, but towards the end of the cycle, right? Because this is phase one, so there is still time for all those things to happen. But in any case, we were talking about the Bitcoin chart. I just mentioned to you that there is a possibility of a retracement at 95,463, and then somewhere around 98,500. And almost like 4 to 5 days ago, when price was trading somewhere around like 89,000, 88,000, we did discuss the fact that if you would look at the order books. And by the way, if you have not watched the previous live stream, please make sure to do that, because live streams, they are not just about market updates, but you actually get to hear about a lot many important things. You get to hear about things that actually work in this market, analysis tools, whatever we are using, right? So we talked about a tool or a way that you can use in order to in order to assess the market situation in an uncharted territory. And what exactly is that? Aggregated order books, right? So if you would look at the order books, you would notice that there is a huge supply zone somewhere around 95,000, 94,000, 93,000. So starting from 93,000 all the way up to 95,000, there is a huge supply zone. And when price was trading around 88,000, I did update this in my channel as well, that there is a possibility that price would have a very strong rejection somewhere in this supply zone, or it would just keep on hitting into this supply zone over and over again. Because you need to once again understand that the market is not being moved. And for example, when we talk about the supply zone, we are simply just referring to the ask orders, we are simply just referring to the sell orders, right, which are present in this zone. It could simply just be the take profit target orders as well. It could simply just be the sell orders, or more in the more general terms, you may say that there is a huge number of ask orders present in 92,000 all the way up to $95,000 range, which means that there is a huge supply zone in this area. So there was going to be two possibilities. Either price was supposed to just have a huge rejection in this range, go back down to 85,000, 86,000, and these orders that we are talking about, these ask orders that we are talking about, these are limit orders, these are not market orders, which means that once again market is being moved basically by market orders. And it really depends on what kind of buying pressure you are getting in terms of market buys, and if that buying pressure is enough to eat all of those sell orders. We have seen this happen during the past like 3 to 4 days, that this has not happened so far. We keep on hitting into this supply zone over and over again, and the more and more price hits into this level over and over again, the weaker it's getting, which means that if we are able to break above this level, there is a possibility that there is going to be a very impulsive move up to 98,000, 99,000. Why? Because as soon as we would simply just eat all of this supply zone, eat all of this supply present in this range, obviously there is not going to be enough supply to stop price at any moment, and the buying pressure from these market buys would simply just make the price straight away go back up to like 97,000, 98,000. That's how basically in a market at the back ends work. But this level you have to be very careful about, 95,463. There is a way in terms of order books and the rest of the things that you can look at, and you may say that okay, this is where price is headed towards, so that's where you could see a rejection happen from. But then there is this chart way as well, where you could simply just look at the candlestick chart or whatever chart you're looking at. Because just like I always say in all of my live streams, that I'm a big fan of the statement that any information that you would need regarding any particular financial instrument, it's always available right in front of you in the chart. So you need not to maybe look at the order books and the rest of these sophisticated methods and things. You can simply just take a look at the chart and it's going to give you all the information that you would ever need, right? So in this situation, this is the spot that we are talking about. Next, let's just quickly take a look at the USDT dominance chart also, which had a kind of this failed breakout, right? The breakout has not happened as of yet, by the way, above the trend line, which means that Bitcoin has still not broken below this trend line. Whenever this trend line break happens, it's going to be a very impulsive break. It's a good thing that we have not so far broken below this trend line. And I must mention this thing that we always talk about how price would simply just break below this trend line and it's going to be a very impulsive break. We have seen this happen so many times during the past like 2, 3, 4 years, especially during the during the bear market. Now, during the bull market, the situation may altogether be different. For example, you may not get those deeper pullbacks, first thing. Secondly, you may not get breaks below the trend line, especially when price is moving in a very strong uptrend, right? And I did warn you guys that price is moving in a very compressed range. This is something very important for all of you. Whenever you see price moving in a very compressed range, for example, in this situation, this was the high, this was a major swing high, and there was a significant amount of rejection happened from this region, and then there was this trend line, which means that price was entering in a very narrow range. And whenever something of that sort happens, you should get the idea that no matter what side the breakout may happen, right? In normal situations, you would say that okay, this is a kind of an ascending triangle or maybe a descending triangle, but this actually looks like an ascending triangle, right? You have a trend line and then you have a resistance somewhere around here. And ascending triangle, by the way, this is a bullish continuation pattern, which means that after the formation of this pattern, you will be expecting the price to move towards upside, and the fact that it's formed in an uptrend further adds to its importance. So in this situation, I clearly warned you guys that in market updates channel that the more compressed price is at any moment, the more big the breakout is going to be, the more impulsive the breakout is going to be in one direction. This is what we have seen happen. The breakout just happened, it was towards upside, and this was, by the way, very impulsive breakout. Secondly, let's take a look at, and the good part is that we have not so far broken below this trend line. Not saying that it may not happen, there is still a possibility. People are just trading this trend line over and over again. Similar is the case with the Ethereum chart as well. If you would open up the Ethereum chart, you would notice that a similar kind of trend line is in formation somewhere around here, right? I'm absolutely not going to trade the Ethereum chart because it's trading right into the resistance area, and we can clearly see that it's getting rejections over and over again from this resistance area. But the point is that Ethereum has a very similar kind of trend line, and there is a possibility that as soon as it breaks below, I'm more confident about Ethereum breaking below this trend line in comparison to Bitcoin. Bitcoin may not break below this trend line, but Ethereum, once again, you would notice that there is this trend line in formation, and then there is this resistance area, which means that if you would extend this trend line on the Ethereum chart, once again, price is moving in a very narrow compression range, right? There is this narrow compression range, which means that at one point in time, there is going to be a breakout towards downside or towards upside, right? So you need not to do anything with the Ethereum chart, by the way. You simply just would have to wait for the breakout in one direction. So coming back to the Bitcoin chart, you have this trend line, right? And then you have this huge supply zone towards upside. I would still say that if you miss the opportunity to go long somewhere around 91,300, and that's perfectly fine. You need not to force the charts, you need not to force the market, because market at this moment is once again only the Bitcoin show, which means that if you're able to catch the move on Bitcoin, then that's well and good, right? You are lucky. But with the rest of these altcoins, there is a reason, right? I was just talking about the charts also, that just during the past 24 hours, I've got almost like 70 plus different alerts on all of these altcoins. And mind you, all of them are down back to some higher time frame support regions, which means that all of these charts for altcoins, they look absolutely good, right? Some of them have been picking up, some of them have been going up, some of the alerts we actually missed. Only two positions we are currently in. The one is on this 0x, and the second one is on I guess H bar, right? And STMX is another position that I was planning to enter, right? But I did not do that. But you can actually imagine this thing, that all of these charts, they're sitting at their higher time frame support regions, and Bitcoin is literally just ripping apart every resistance region. every supply zone, and all of these charts, they are still sitting at these higher time frame support area. The reason for this is because all of the attention at this moment is either towards meme coins or is simply just towards Bitcoin at this moment, and only the most strongest possible coins, right, that have a very strong narrative, or maybe there is a strong enough community, only those are going to perform good. Like, we have seen coins like Link also, which is by the way very strong project, breaking below the support regions, which means that all of these altcoins, they're going to take a very big hit if Bitcoin drops from this moment. So I'm warning you over and over again that although you would notice that Bitcoin is going up to 95,000, and we are trading around all-time high, but at this moment, since Bitcoin dominance is going up, this is a kind of a surprising thing that all of these altcoins are literally just performing shit, right? I just got the alert on the 𝗬𝗏𝗆 as well. So if any one of you have not entered into any of these two positions, the first one being 𝗬𝗏𝗆, the second one being ZRX, you can simply just enter both of these positions, right? So coins like the one that we entered yesterday, it was, I guess, which one was that? That went up almost like 28%, 30%, I just forgot the name. The other one was Virtual. That was completely my mistake, right? I missed the move on Virtual. This was the first retest, this was the second retest. I was sleeping at that time. So LTO, yeah, so the LTO move. So coins like these, for example, like LTO, for example, like Virtual, some of these coins that have a low market cap, that are only listed over handful of exchanges, and that have nothing, projects that literally just don't give any shit about the rest of the market. Only these are the coins that are going to perform good, right? And it's literally just a gamble with these coins. So coming back to the USDT dominance chart. So USDT dominance chart, we know that it's inversely or negatively correlated with the Bitcoin chart. There was this failed attempt to break above this trend line, which is a good thing, because if that attempt would have, if bears would have succeeded in making the price break above this trend line, then that would have been absolutely extremely bad situation for Bitcoin and the rest of these altcoins as well. But in this situation, this trend line, it's still in formation, right? We are sitting at this higher time frame support area, because that's why I've set the alerts around here. And this is not just a higher time frame support in terms of 4-hour level, but on the weekly time frame chart also. This is same thing that we discussed during the last live stream as well, that if you would look at the weekly time frame level, let me just hide all of these drawings. Okay, 1 second, let me just turn off drawings. Okay, so if you would look at let's just turn on the VWAP indicator. So once again, price at this moment, it's sitting and once again back at this weekly ELD VWAP. We are not talking about any smaller time frame, we are talking about weekly time frame, which is one of the highest time frames, right? And we are back at the very same level, at which the all-time high was formed back on 13th or 14th of March, which means that either we're going to see a very strong rejection of the Bitcoin chart from this point, or if we simply just break below, and if we break below and manage to close a weekly candle below this line, then that's going to be a big achievement for bulls, right? Because this is not just a strong level in terms of a dynamic line, but this is also a very strong level in terms of weekly horizontal levels, right? There is a weekly higher time frame support present around here, which means that it's absolutely necessary for us to break above these levels on a Bitcoin chart and break below these levels on the USDT dominance chart, because if we don't manage to do that, then there is going to be some retracements happen. There is every possibility that we can retrace back up to like 86,000, 85,000. Once again, that's not going to look good for the Bitcoin chart and for the rest of these altcoins as well. So make sure that you are paying close attention to the USDT dominance chart as well, because remember, it's inversely correlated with the Bitcoin chart, and at this point it's sitting at this higher time frame support, not just in terms of ELD VWAP, but also in terms of this horizontal support, and that too on the weekly time frame chart, which further adds to the importance of everything, right? Okay, so this is all about the Bitcoin chart and the rest of the things. We've already discussed the possibility of a pullback. Now let's just quickly take a look at the at the total 2 chart as well, right? First of all, let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, what exactly is the reason that all of these altcoins, they're performing shit? The reason obviously is Bitcoin dominance. This is the market capitalization of Bitcoin at this moment. I was expecting, some form of rejections, around here. And, a lot many people are always asking what could be the top for Bitcoin dominance. First of all, let me just state two different narratives. If we have to see a top form on Bitcoin dominance, most probably it's going to be somewhere in between 65% and 70%, right? 65%, 70%. And then, the most popular narrative is that as soon as we would go up to 65%, 70.5%, these levels on the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are going to see a straight fall back down to maybe like 45% level and 50% level. And this is what would actually trigger an altcoin rally. And by once again altcoin rally, I don't mean to say the rallies that the mini rallies that we have seen happen during the past 2 weeks, or the ones that we saw happen during the first two quarters of 2024. I'm not talking about those rallies. I'm talking about the kind of bull run in which every single thing would go up 2x, 3x, 4x, and it's going to look absolutely crazy, right? I don't know how many of you were there during the last bull run or not, but you will be able to, or you would be able to relate with that statement or whatever I'm talking about, right? So bull run or an altcoin rally or an actual altcoin rally, it's entirely different from what we have seen happen during this 1 year. These are just mini mini rallies or whatever you would like to call it, right? So the first most popular narrative is that as soon as Bitcoin dominance would go back up to 65%, 70.5%, that's where we are going to see a major rejection. That's when Bitcoin would probably top around those levels, and then we would see capital rotation happen into Ethereum and the rest of the altcoins, right? This is first thing. Secondly, then there is this less popular narrative also, which I would agree to, which I would like to agree to some extent. And the narrative says that since a lot many important factors are into play, at this point, which means, the more specifically, since we have ETFs into play during this bull cycle, it's not possible for Bitcoin dominance to go down to 40 to 50% level, which means that there is a possibility that unlike the previous cycles, altcoins, they may not really perform that good. Now, once again, this is a very less popular kind of narrative, but I can still relate to this narrative, to be very honest, and it makes sense as well, right? Because the center of attraction at this point, BlackRock is not investing into STMX, BlackRock is not investing into Bonk, Virtual, ANKR, Link, Theta, or the rest of these altcoins, right? You talk about any of these big projects, BlackRock is investing into Bitcoin, right? All of these big institutions, MicroStrategy, they're investing into Bitcoin because they understand this thing that Bitcoin is here to stay and the rest of these altcoins are not really, right? The rest of these, investing into these altcoins, I always say it's very much like going into casino and saying that I would like to invest here. You go to casino to win some money, to lose some money. You are not there to make any kind of investments, right? And they understand this game. They understand that only Bitcoin is going to stay for a long enough period, right? That's why they're investing into it. So the point here is that there is this growing narrative, less popular although, that unlike the previous cycles, we may not really see a huge altcoin rally take place. The reason for this is because for an altcoin rally to take place, for a huge altcoin rally, we would need Bitcoin dominance to fall back down to maybe 50% levels, 45, 48% level, which is quite difficult to happen, given that we have ETFs into play, we have MicroStrategy continuously bidding, we have all these big players who would continuously to bid Bitcoin. And in order to understand this narrative, in order to understand this logic, you need to understand what exactly Bitcoin dominance means. Bitcoin dominance is simply just the market capitalization of Bitcoin, and the value is currently at 60.8%, which means that, let's suppose if $1 million, or let's suppose if we have out of the total capital that is flowing into the crypto market, or that is in rotation in the crypto market, 60.87% of that capital is being invested into Bitcoin, and the rest of the capital, which is 40%, is simply just invested into the rest of these altcoins or any other coins, right? Any other project. So the point here is that this narrative or this possibility that this dominance or this market capitalization would reduce down to 48%, 50%, and especially considering the fact that we have seen Bitcoin dominance increase mainly because of these institutions. What makes us think, or what makes it possible that Bitcoin dominance would go down to 48%, or what makes it possible that these institutions, they would simply just start selling their holdings, which makes absolutely no sense, right? Back in those days when Bitcoin was trading around 15,000, 16,000, 17,000, MicroStrategy had their average buying price somewhere around 35,000. Price went from 35,000 to 15,000. They were in billions of dollars unrealized loss. They did not sell anything, right? Price just went from 35,000 all the way up to 94,000, 95,000. MicroStrategy has their average buying price somewhere around 50 to 55,000. They are in billions of dollars. They are in around like 10 to 12 billion dollars unrealized profit. They are not selling a single Bitcoin. So it makes you realize that they are not here to make small pennies, right? They are not here to make these small investments. They believe in the project, whatever thing that they invest in, they believe in the project, and they believe that this project is here to stay, and they're simply just targeting higher prices. So even if price goes down, goes up, they don't really have to do anything. It really has nothing to do with what these big institutions they are doing, right? So once again, this narrative that it's very obvious that in order for an altcoin rally to happen, Bitcoin dominance would have to fall back down to these 50, 55%, 48% level. And this seems quite, difficult to happen, because the market capitalization would only reduce if the bigger players, they would start selling their Bitcoin. And once again, what makes us believe that they would start reducing their holdings until and unless price goes up to maybe like 200k, 400k, 500k, during this cycle, which is once again quite impossible. And given that happens, they would simply just start taking profits, and they would simply just start selling their holdings, right? So this is all about Bitcoin and dominance, and an altcoin rally that may happen, may not happen. I'm not really sure about that. One index that we can actually always look at is TOTAL2 chart. This is the market capitalization for altcoins, or this is the market capitalization of crypto excluding Bitcoin. And every time the TOTAL2 chart, it would fall back down to some higher time frame support, it's always going to be a good it's always going to be a good chance for you to enter into some long positions. This is what we saw happen last night as well. It consolidated a little bit. It then went back down to this high time frame support, and then we saw an immediate move upside. And both of these charts, you would have to look both of these charts side by side. Okay, so Bitcoin dominance is going up at this moment, and TOTAL2 chart, it's going down at this moment. There is this huge wick towards upside. So it basically shows you if Bitcoin dominance would go up, TOTAL2 chart, it would go down. If this one would go up, then Bitcoin dominance, it would start going down. And so all of these things, they are moving simultaneously with each other. Similar is the case with the USDT dominance chart as well. So USDT dominance, I don't know when this would happen. There was this failed attempt to break above this trend line, but make sure that you're paying attention to all of these different things. We are sitting at this higher time frame horizontal support, this weekly time frame level, and at any moment we could see a huge breakout towards upside. Okay, and we can simply just hit into this resistance area. But I completely agree with most of the people saying that the chart, they're extremely choppy at this moment. Unlike the previous situations, unlike the previous weeks, like the previous 2-3 weeks, the charts are extremely choppy at this moment. Let's just take the example of the USDT dominance chart. We have already seen price head into this resistance area like 5, 6, 7, 8 times already. And secondly, given the fact that we have such a strong support lying around here, and then we have a strong resistance lying around here, it's very much a sandwiched kind of situation, which means that it's always a good idea to simply just wait for breakout in one direction, or maybe you can simply just wait for USDT dominance to break above this trend line and start taking a long position, or start building a long position on Bitcoin at this point, right? But apart from that, you can always catch some small moves. For example, there were two equal highs formed on the USDT dominance chart, and soon after the formation of these equal highs, that's when Bitcoin was trading somewhere around 91,400, 500. We saw this move downside on the USDT dominance chart, and price on the Bitcoin chart, it started moving back up. Okay, similar is the case here as well. We saw some equal highs, equal lows form, and if we form another two equal lows somewhere around here, then most probably we will be breaking above this trend line. But make sure that you are paying very close attention to this trend line. So over to you guys. If you have any chart request, please make sure to drop it in the chat box, or if you have any question related to the market, please make sure to ask. What do you think about it now? I am in it long. What are you talking about, Tao? Okay, sometimes I wonder, how many of you pay attention to any of the things that I talk about during these live streams. The last live stream we had complete discussion about why you should not really trade Tao. Okay, I gave all of you too many different reasons to say that you should not trade Tao, because first the anything that had to happen with Tao did already happen during the past like 1 month or so. When the rest of the market, it was down, trading somewhere around 56,000, 57,000, Tao was the only coin that was outperforming the rest of the market. I understand that the project is good, the narrative, it's good, but you also need to pay attention to the chart part as well. Now it's simply just trading at this slightly under this resistance area. Not saying that it's still a resistance level, because there is a possibility that this could simply just turn into a deviation move. We have seen this happen so many times at this level. There is a possibility that we can break above this trend line, but so far price is still trading under this level, and it's not really a good thing, because historically speaking, we can notice that this is the kind of a resistance area, which means that if we start consolidating in this level, it's not going to look good. If market pukes a little bit, if market goes down a little bit, every possibility that we can go down to this higher time frame support. But we have discussed this, we did discuss this during last live stream as well, that Tao, it's not even, you can already see I have flagged it as red, which means that you forget about the fundamentals and everything. Even the chart is not looking good to me, because it's such a range bound kind of chart. It's such a noisy chart that you would never really want to trade it, right? And they were like first, second, third, fourth bounce happen off this trend line, and just take a look at the bounces. This was the first bounce, then this was the second bounce, then this was the third bounce, and this was this fourth bounce. And like I always say, if price is just bouncing off a level over and over and over again, and the retracements are getting smaller, you can actually notice that this was the first retracement, this was the second retracement, this was the third retracement, this was the fourth retracement. So with every bounce, the buyers are losing interest in this level, which means that price just kept on going down, 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 down. So it was highly likely that price at some point in time would simply just break below this area. And I need not to mention that it's most probably going to be trading under some major dynamic level. But at this point, there are two possibilities. If the rest of the market, something crazy happens with Bitcoin dominance, it's not just about Tao. The rest of these coins, look at 𝗕𝗵𝗵𝗺, look at LTO, some of these strong coins as well, they're performing absolutely shit. And this is for a reason, because Bitcoin dominance, it's going up. So this is not an altcoin market at this moment. This is simply just a Bitcoin market, right? So just like I always mention, you need to pay attention to all of these different indices as well. So you need to pay attention to the fact that if you are able to catch a move, then you should simply just do it on the Bitcoin chart. Like I discussed at the very beginning of the live stream also, I got almost like 60 to 70 different alerts on all these different altcoins, right? But the reason I only have like 1 or 2 positions open is mainly because I don't want to risk. I completely understand that, only if Bitcoin dominance starts going down, if we hit into some strong level, only then we can expect a strong bounce happen of all of these altcoins. Otherwise, none of these levels, they're going to get respected. So on the Tao chart, the only hope I would say is going to be if it just breaks back above this trend line and goes up something like this, which is sort of unlikely at this moment, given that we are trading under this level, and then we would have another level around here, another level around here, another resistance around here. So nothing crazy is gonna happen with Tao until and unless something crazy happens with the rest of the altcoin market in terms of Bitcoin dominance, right? I asked you before about manual stop loss. Okay, I don't know how to manage my risk with manual stop loss. Could you explain how to do it? I like to have my risk managed, I don't want to lose. Okay, so the best way that you can manage your risk with manual stop loss is, first, you can either simply just place a hard stop loss, and if you cannot manage to do so, the best possible way that you can do so is simply just place a hard stop loss. Okay, whatever the given stop loss is, simply just place a hard stop loss at that point, and never have more than like 2 to 3 different trades in one situation. So somebody just gave me a stat almost like 5 to 6 months ago. It was a very interesting stat, okay, and I would like to share it with all of you. They were following my trades for the past like 1 year or so, and they noticed that only 3 to 4% of my trades, and in very extraordinary kind of situations when there is a huge dump in the market or huge pump in the market, only 2 to 3% of my trades, they would go down to that point where it's between hard and soft stop loss, right? Most of my trades would usually pump from the first entry or the second entry, which means that, first of all, if you are following the hard stop loss thing, you need not to have like too many open positions at one moment, right? You cannot have like 10 different positions open, because if price goes down, it would simply just hit all of your hard stop losses, and you are going to get liquidated most probably. So the best possible way that you can manage the risk is don't have more than 2 to 3 open positions. 3 is the maximum number. Don't have more than 3 open positions in one direction. I'm talking about leverage positions. I'm not talking about spot position. And then simply just place a hard stop loss, right? You need not to enter into like 10 different positions in order to make money, right? Everybody has a different way of managing the risk. The way that I would recommend to you once again is that place a hard stop loss and don't have too many open positions in one direction. Maximum number of open positions should always be like, 3 in my opinion, if you are placing a hard stop loss, right? And if you are able to manage the risk, because once again, anything crazy could happen at any moment. What about Audi? It's also okay, let's take a look at Audi as well. And I guess we did close Audi trade break even almost like a week or so ago. The main reason was the price was trading below this resistance area. So this is exactly when we closed the trade break even, and that's why I'm being very careful whenever I'm entering into positions. I'm most of the times people would say, that why are you closing these positions break even? You need to simply just let some of these positions play for a longer enough period. No, we cannot really do that. Let's just take the example of 𝗕𝗔. We closed this trade break even because it failed the first entry, second entry, the average price was somewhere around here. I don't exactly know. We closed it break even. The reason for this was because the original thesis was based on the fact, and by the way, this was a risky trade, and it did mention that 𝗙𝗍, it's probably the coin, or chilies, whatever you would like to call it, right? I don't exactly know how it's being pronounced. It's 𝗙𝗍 or chilies. It's the first one or the second one. Okay, so the main thesis I did mention, by the way, in the reasoning also, that it hardly gives any respect to levels, right? And this is the same thing that we saw happen in this situation also. Price simply just started falling back down, and now it's trading right under this resistance area. Okay, and I don't really want to take any kind of risk, especially when price is trading under the level, right? So the main thesis was that price would bounce off this support area. That did not happen. Now it's trading under this resistance area. So the whole thesis has gone invalidated. So it's best to simply just close the trade break even. Now in the case of Audi as well, let's take a look at the chart. I guess the very same thing is happening. Price is, by the way, trading under this resistance area, but it's a good thing that we have a support down there, and it's still sitting at this higher time frame support. But I must mention, it's the same thing that we've seen happen with 𝗬 as well. This was a first bounce, this was a second bounce, this was third bounce, this was a fourth bounce, and with every bounce the retracement is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So there is a possibility that we may break slightly below this level as well. But it's a slightly better situation in comparison to the 𝗬 chart, because first of all, we would have this trend line as a support, and secondly, we still have a strong horizontal level that we can always bounce off from, right? So you need to not panic in this situation. In the case of Audi, 𝗬 I cannot really say anything about, but this looks a much better kind of a situation. And if we look at the quarterly and yearly VWAP, it's a good thing that price is staying above the yearly VWAP at the horizontal support. The retracements may not be looking that good, but if it breaks above, then it's going to be on the top of this trend line, which means that it's very much going to be a decisive kind of situation in which price would go up like this. What's your opinion on AI coins with Nvidia earnings coming up today? The AI narrative, I guess we have during the past like 1 month or so, we have seen a kind of a what would you call it, decorrelation or something like that, in which the AI coins, they are not moving or they're not really following very closely the AI stocks. For example, we saw Nvidia going to all-time highs, but during the past like 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, we have not seen some of these AI coins like FET, like Tau performing that good. And this is quite obvious as well, because most of these coins, especially if you consider the case of Tau, they already had a huge run during the past 1 month or so, which means that now the capital is flowing from this narrative into some other narrative, which is basically meme coins at this moment. So I'm not very optimistic about the AI coin narrative. Obviously, it's a strong narrative, but more recently, I have seen a kind of a decorrelation happen, right? In which both of these AI stocks and AI coins, they're moving quite independently. Obviously, the earnings report, it's going to have some kind of impact over AI coins, but I believe that it's not going to be some kind of a huge impact. For example, it's not like the rest of the market, it would be going down and some of these AI coins, they would start going up. That kind of a thing hardly ever happens, right? So, until and unless the overall market conditions, they are favorable. And given the fact that we have seen both of these financial assets, all of these financial asset classes move independently, it's something that's worth considering. Okay, so 𝗬𝗲𝗃 is almost like 2.25% up. Okay, so guys, please make sure to drop your questions in the chat box. This chart is still 10 by 10, although I still believe that we should have placed the limits maybe somewhere around here, but that's completely fine. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so the reason why I'm trying to bid APT is mainly because this is a strong weekly level, this is a strong monthly level. APT has been struggling to break above this level. We had this huge breakout upside. Now price is just going back to retest this trend line. But more importantly, whenever you have these kind of situations, just like you always say, a huge wick upside, a huge wick downside. Unfortunately, I did open position at my end, but I was not able to share it with you guys. So apologies for this. I guess price is already up almost like 2%, nothing much, but 2% up almost. So whenever you have a situation like this, you can always draw fib retracement level, just forgetting about the trend and everything. Whenever there are huge wicks on both sides, for example, take this instance, there was a huge wick downside, there was a huge wick upside. All you had to do was just take out your fib tool and draw fib retracement, and you can expect the price to react around 65-70.5% fib level. So in this situation also, you can clearly see that all you had to do was, mainly because of the wick, take out your fib tool, draw fib retracement, and expect the price to give some kind of bounce, around 61.8% fib level. And this is exactly what we saw happen, right? So this was a very strong weekly level. This still is a strong weekly level. So, if you would like to set the alerts, please make sure to do that. I'll be updating this in my channel as well. So, 11.9806, okay? All right. Could you explain more in depth how you calculate manual stop loss? Okay, let me explain to you the complete, psychology behind the manual stop loss, okay? So first of all, most of my trades, almost like 99.9% of my trades, they're based off the idea of market structure, right? So, in order to keep it a little bit short, because market structure, it's a huge topic, right? So you have mainly two things in terms of a market structure. If the market is moving in an uptrend, then it's going to be simply just making higher highs and higher lows, which means that every time price would simply just break above the previous high, this is something that you would consider as the break of structure, which is basically an indication of the continuation of the uptrend or downtrend. Once again, as soon as price would break above the previous high in an uptrend, this is something that you would consider a break of structure, right? Similar is the case with the downtrend as well. If price is moving in a downtrend, it should continuously be making these lower lows and lower highs. Anytime price would simply just break below the previous low, this is something that you would consider as a break of structure, and this is an indication of the continuation of the downtrend. Okay, now whenever the second important element of market structure is, if price at some point in time, obviously it's not going to keep on going up, it would simply just not keep on going downside. At some point in time we are going to see a reversal as well. So what if price simply just breaks below the previous low? This is something that you would call a change of character or market structure shift. Some people like to call it as change of character, chalk, or market structure shift, or MSS, right? So let's simply just call it change of character. Now, both of these market structure elements, they're extremely important. If you have to trade in the direction of the trend, you would simply just take into account breakout structures. If you have to trade if you have to trade the reversals during an uptrend or during a downtrend, you would simply just take a look at chalk, change of character, market structure shift. Now, the most important part of market structure is that both of these elements, breakout structure and change of character, they're only valid not in the case of wicks, but only in the case of candle closes. Which means that if at any point in time price would simply just wick above the previous high, if it goes something like this, only wicks above the previous high, then you would simply just call it a liquidity sweep. You are not really you would say that because many people, they had their open short positions, and that's how price basically moved downside as well. They had their short positions, they had their stops placed above these highs, price went up, took out all of these stop losses and simply just fell back down. This is something that you can call the swing failure pattern as well, SFP. This is something that I mentioned in my channel last night as well, okay? That we saw happen on the Bitcoin chart also. So, this would simply just be considered as a liquidity sweep, and this is not going to be, as per the rules of market structure, this is not going to be considered as a valid breakout structure, because in order to have a valid breakout structure, you need to have a candle close on whatever time frame you're looking at above the high or above the low. Similar is the case with the change of character. If price would only just wick below this low, then you would simply just call it a liquidity sweep below this low, because we know that this is the point where most of the people, they would have taken their long positions, they would have their stops placed just below this low, and price at some point in time just wicked below these lows, took out all of these stop losses, and then simply just moved back upside, right? This is something that you would call a change of character. Now, once again, the point here is that both of these market structure elements, they depend only on the candle closes on whatever time frame you're looking at. They do not really consider the wicks as valid market structure elements, right? So that's why, because 99.99% of my trades, they're based on market structure, or what exactly is the direction of the trend that we are trading with. And that's why most of my stop losses, they are not intentionally manual stop losses. Most of the times people think that maybe Sherlock is using the manual stop losses in order to avoid the scam wicks. Yes, 99.9% of people who are using manual stop losses are doing this because of this reason, in order to just avoid the scam wicks, because scam wicks are extremely common in the market. But I have a sort of obligation, because the trading strategy that I am using, the confluences that I am using, they actually have a sort of obligation that they don't really consider the wicks, but they actually consider the complete candle closes. And that's why I'm usually always considering the candle closes, not in order to avoid scam wicks, but just because of the market structure element, right? Because of the rules of market structure elements, breakout structure and change of character. So I hope I was able to answer the question, the cow. Okay, so any other chart requests from you? Hey Sherlock, I'm currently in 5 long positions: Audi, Tau, Avalanche, 0x and XRP. XRP, let me just go through all of them one by one. So first of all, Audi, we've already taken a look at it. Tau, we've already done the Tau as well. If you just joined in a little bit late, this live stream is going to be uploaded over YouTube channel as soon as tonight. So make sure to watch the live stream, right? ZRX, obviously the same story. It's still bouncing off this support area. I believe that as soon as the market starts recovering, this is going to be the top runner, right? Because just look at the just look at the way the price is bouncing off these levels. Although the rest of the market is performing shit at this moment, but still you have ZRX still performing good, right? Which means that this chart is still 10 by 10 in my personal opinion, right? So let's just take a look at finally XRP as well. I do have a long position, long limits for XRP, but they are down below at 0.95 level. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if I had to take a long position, I have to take a long position XRP, it's not going to be above this level, right? So this is the level that I'm looking at. I would only be targeting this level specifically because this is the higher time frame support, and this is once again a sort of rule for me as well, that I would simply just wait for price to come back to me. This was probably the best opportunity to buy XRP. You can see that price just had a break above this area, consolidated a little bit, then went back down, and then simply just had a move towards upside. It's a very simple trading strategy. All you have to do is simply just have a good understanding of support and resistance. In this situation also, I don't really care where XRP is going. PEP also has a very similar structure, and WIF also has a very similar structure. I don't really care where exactly the current market price is. I would simply just wait for price to head back down to these higher time frame support. Whenever that happens, I'm simply just ready for it. Okay, so let's just take the example of Bonk as well. This one also, unfortunately, completely missed these limits, but this is also another good example, right? Okay, so Bitcoin literally just dropped $300 downside, and most of these altcoins, they're already shitting the bed. So the same thing that I warned you guys about at the very beginning of the live stream also, that the way Bitcoin dominance is going up, any small downside move on Bitcoin, it's not really going to look good for altcoins. Even if Bitcoin goes up to 97,000, 98,000, because Bitcoin dominance is increasing with such a pace, it's even if it drops back from 98,000, 97,000 down to 94,000, most of these altcoins, they are going to go down almost like 15 to 20%. You need to be aware of this. Okay, so it's not a good idea to have too many open positions, and most of the people were saying that maybe they should open a hedge short position on Bitcoin. But why would you do that? Bitcoin is the only thing that's rising at this point, right? And because Bitcoin is going up and most of the attention is towards Bitcoin dominance is going up, that's why most of these altcoins, they're suffering, right? So you would be doing exactly the stupid thing. So don't open any short position, hedge short position on Bitcoin. If you really have to, just try to open on some of the coins. Like, let's just take the example of Tau, right? Just forget about the fact that you have a long position, but for a moment you can already see this thing, that Tau, it's trading under this resistance area, right? Which means that it's a very good short position. Okay, it's a very good short position. Let me just open up the chart, Binance chart, I guess it was. Yeah, so in this situation, you can clearly see that it's trading under this resistance area, right? Which means that at the current market price or somewhere around the current market prices, it's still a good short position. So maybe, you can just try to enter some short positions, on some of these coins that are actually weak. You can set alerts on your phone for when price hits near your soft stop loss, and then just watch the candle close away. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, BLOFIN, since you are a developer, so yeah, we would really appreciate if you are able to, just provide a solution for this. Like, if you could simply just, write a code for this or something that would simply just alert as soon as a 4-hour candle closes above or below a certain point, right? I know it's not super difficult to do, but yeah, we would really appreciate if you would do that. But you cannot manage if you lose 1 hour or multiple hour when there is a scam. That's why I'm saying that simply just use the hard stop loss, and I just gave you away the stats as well. I don't know how many of these other analysts, they're using the soft stop loss thing, but never have more than 3 positions open in one direction and set the hard stop loss. And just like I gave you the stats as well, somebody dropped it to me that only like 2 to 3% of my trades, in some extraordinary kind of market situations, would go down to a point where it's between a hard stop loss and a manual stop loss thing. Okay, so you are not really losing anything even if you are setting a hard stop loss. How many of our trades have gone down to the point where it was between hard stop loss and manual stop loss throughout this month? Almost none, right? I should do it for the people. Yeah, you can BLOFIN if you are able to do it, or maybe Peter. I know that Peter is also a developer, so if any one of you is able to do it, we would really appreciate it. Okay, this is good. If this has got the option to simply just have the alert set as well, then that would be further great. So here is a script. Let me just copy paste the script and see how is it working. Okay, we're already seeing so many of these alerts, which means that price Bitcoin is definitely going down, and altcoins, they are that's the same story that we discussed at the very beginning of the live stream. Okay, so soft stop loss plot, I don't know what exactly the plot is, but I guess you would have to enter the price manually, right? So is it possible to use your trades with hard stop loss? Yes, it's quite possible, but just like I mentioned, you need not to have like too many trades open in one direction, possibly not more than two, right? Sorry, not more than three. So, you know, three trades, that's like more than enough. Peter, please relax. And please don't mind Peter, he is always like this. Peter is like a class clown, okay? So please don't mind him. I guess we can set the alerts on this. Okay, so condition value crosses. Okay, so it has the condition for setting the value and everything. If you guys don't know how to use it, then maybe, you know, Blockist, you can just give us a tutorial as well. You know, just write a text and, you know, I would share it with these guys. But it's going to be very simple. All you have to do is simply just copy paste the script and add to the alerts tab, and, you know, I guess mention the condition and everything, right? Or maybe you can just simply do it in the script also by changing the values, but I'm not sure how you are doing it. Okay guys, I guess that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Please make sure to just you know, watch it on YouTube as well as soon as it gets uploaded over there, you know, in case you missed something. Yeah, you know, Peter needs to relax a little bit. So, you know, make sure that, you know, you have all these trade entries properly set, because once again, you know, I see that most of people, you know, they are not really, you know, setting the limits properly, not setting the DC and everything. So, you know, yeah, make sure to do that. Okay, let's take a look at 𝗲 as well. Oh, okay. Who was the winner? Yeah, we have to announce the winner of the giveaway also. So, you know, please raise your hand. How many of you are watching the live stream? Please raise your hand in the chat box, and let me just select a winner for the giveaway also. Free 1 month giveaway. Okay, so let's just, for those of you who are already premium members, I guess there is no need to raise the hand, but let's just give it away to Winter. So congratulations, Winter. You have won the giveaway. Please make sure to open up the ticket, and we still have the you know, lifetime subscription giveaway. You know, that's still on. All you have to do is simply just write a testimonial in the testimonial channel, right? That's all you have to do. That's all very much you have to do, right? And we regularly have, only this month we had like, you know, 5 to 6 different giveaways. Only this month we had like, you know, 5 to 6 different giveaways. So, you know, if you didn't win this time, please make sure to just participate in the other giveaway that we are having. All you have to do is, once again, just you know, write a testimonial in the testimonial channel. It could just be as simple as I like money. So there is this guy called David. He just literally dropped a testimonial saying I like money. So it could just be as simple as that. So if you did not win this time, please try your luck there. It's all good, guys. It's all good. Okay, so about 𝗲, you know, the trend is obviously strong, but I don't know, you know, probably if you're looking to enter somewhere around the current market price, I would not recommend to do so, because there was this huge wick above the previous high, which means that this you would still have to consider this as the major swing low. So a good point to enter into a long position on 𝗲, it's definitely going to be this point, right? At this support. You can set your stop loss just below 78% level, and then you can target the new highs. But it's a very simple chart. 1 second, there is this higher time frame support around here. Yeah, absolutely. So don't take long around the current market price. Simply just wait for price to drop back down to this point if you're planning to enter. Okay guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Winter. Enjoy your free giveaway, and once again, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream, and if you have any other questions, you can always ping me in the chat box. You can always just DM me, and I would make sure to just respond to you. Next stream next week, I don't know, probably like if something crazy happens with the market, then probably like in 1 or 2 days as well. It really depends on if you guys want me to stream every day or not. I can definitely do that, right? I can definitely stream every single day, but that would simply just may not be that exciting for everyone. Okay, thank you so much for joining. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you.